Welcome. I thought I would take today's class to find and embrace our meditation seat. And what I've found in my practice is that I need to do a little movement before I set myself up in my seat, and even a little bit of breath work, pranayama, breath retention, or this idea of engaging with our breath in a new and different way, so that we can find a suitable pattern of breathing, one that's more efficient perhaps, or just soothes and calms the nervous system. So we're going to start with some movement on our back. And so I have a blanket placed over my mat. And I also have a meditation cushion, you could call it. It's a little bolster. So I'll be bringing that in when we come towards our meditation seat. So this will be about a 30-minute practice, and hopefully you'll join me. And start to rest down on your back. And as you arrive here, make sure you're comfortable. So I'm noticing my head is off this blanket, and I'd like a little bit more comfort there. Just going to pull that up. And when you rest on your back, keeping the knees bent and feet planted might help the pelvis settle a little bit more. You can open your arms out to the sides, or you can rest them on your torso. Just take a moment to check in with your body. You might move your head side to side. Notice the shoulder blades behind your upper back. Check in with the low back, the pelvis. And notice your feet on the floor, and you can even press your feet in or press your feet down and away from you. Feel this grounding energy come into the body. You can do that a couple times, pressing into the feet, starting to establish yourself in your body. So our movements today will be very gentle and easy. We will be doing some external hip rotation so that you can find that seated, cross-legged seat, Siddhasana. So as you're starting to establish in your body here, notice your feet again, pressing one foot in and then the other foot. Try that side to side. And after you've done 3 or 4 passes side to side, start to press into the feet evenly again. And the hips stay on the floor. You're just feeling engagement through the core. Release. Move your way up towards your pelvis and start a little arching and tilting of the pelvis. And arch your back away from the floor. Soften it back to the earth. And then start to flatten your low back, engaging the front side to flatten the back. Take that a couple times, arching and flattening. Let's start to move up in towards the shoulders. You can press your shoulders down towards the floor. The palms might splay open, thumb side knocks down to the earth. And this arch might start to come lower in the body as you soften the back down to the earth. And then do the opposite. Pull the shoulders in and up. Let the arms roll in, palms face down. You'll feel your abdominals contract. Maybe your tailbone scoops up like that back flattening. And find that a couple times. Open up and start to bud and curl in. You could get your legs involved a little bit here, flowering open, palms open, maybe the knees part just a little bit. Not so much that you add tension to the low back or strain. And then start to soften as you bud in. Let the knees knock in, let the palms go down. You might feel your chin jetting up in space, back of the neck tightening a bit. Let everything come back to neutral. Just pause. Take your hand towards your right hip flexor. You're going to just lift up your right foot. Be easy with that. And then place it down. You can feel all those muscles turn on right in the hip socket. Pick up your left foot. Maybe your hand is helpful to feel muscle engagement. Gently drop that foot. Now let your right knee knock out to the side, only as far as you keep your left hip on the ground. And then bring it back to center. A couple more times. Knee goes out and leg goes in external rotation on this right side. And back to center. You might start to knock just the right knee in. Good. Take your time, allowing this right leg to find internal rotation. And then together you can bring in external rotation through center towards internal rotation. Let this be a one leg experience. The left leg is stabilizing. Find yourself back to center. You can press both feet down. Take a breath. And then your left leg, start to bring it out to the side at external rotation. As you do this, you're tightening the outside chain here, these adductor muscles. Or these are the abductors, abductors, moving away from the body. You might notice the side of the foot gets heavy. After you've done external rotation, find internal rotation on this side. Let this be a bit of a challenge. And if it's feeling really jerky, the challenge might be slowing down, right? So the right leg is steady, left leg moves in towards center. Somatics has this way of getting us a lot closer to our body, to our functional movement. And the idea is that you're sensing and feeling inside. You're doing more sensing than actually focusing on the movement, right? So this turns into something that doesn't look like this. Maybe it's more still. Maybe it's a little bigger. Whatever you need to sense and feel inside. I'm now moving my leg in that rainbow arch, in and out, left side only. I'm going to return back, both feet planted. Start to press the feet back in. And if you're feeling like you have a little extra energy and you want to press the feet in and lift the hips, a mini bridge pose, you can check that out a couple times. And let's easily and gently flatten the back. take one hand towards a knee, pull that knee in, and then gently find the other knee coming in as well. Soften your knees in towards your chest. Allow your low back to be long and flat here. And if it feels appropriate in your body, start to tuck your chin in, find this upper core muscles, and start to curl the head in. Slowly release. Good. Finding good controlled movement, let your feet drop towards the earth. Move up towards the arms. Arms are going to lift up towards the ceiling. Just doing a few movements here, like those rainbow arcs once again. So the arms come down to the legs and then up towards the ceiling. And they only go right about to your eyesight. Good. And then arms come back down. So just be mindful on that flexion of the shoulder, the overhead. Reach. Find two more. And if it feels like the next right thing in your body, we'll make this a little moving bridge just to clear some energy, a little stimulation of our core. So you're going to press your feet in, lift your hips, lift your arms, and exhale like a wave, arms and hips back towards the earth. You can do that a couple times. If it's interesting to you, you might choose to do this with one arm. I'm going to leave my left arm down by my side. I'm going to reach up with my right arm and my hips. Good. I'm noticing my shoulder wants to move even farther on one side. I'm letting that happen as long as it feels safe in the body. I'm going to do the other side, right arm down, left arm lifts. So only doing the movement if it's suiting today. Good. You might end with an even movement. If you went to one arm, bring back both arms. And then let's start to settle. We'll start a little bit of our breath focus here, resting on the earth, and continue when we come into a seat. So we'll start with the analoma breath, which is just a subtle sense of the air passing by the nostrils. And if you choose, you can close the nostrils like 50%. So you're going to use your thumb and your first finger. You're just going to gently press on the flare of the nostril and start to breathe in here. What's interesting about this is you can actually feel some of the muscles of the nose, and you can see how they move when you breathe in and soften as you breathe out. And the activity here is to get a little bit of restriction in this passageway so that you can build a better sense of your breath. So we're not pinching the nose off. It's just a very subtle press inward at the flare of the nose. As your hand is here, you can feel that the air is cooler on the way in and warmer on the way out. Take your time with this, a few more breaths, bringing in awareness at the nostrils. This breath passes through the bridge of your nose. It moves towards the center of your forehead and then goes down towards the diaphragm and towards your core. So see if you can image that pathway from the nose towards the third eye and then into the body. You can start to release the soft press of the nostril flares. And I'd like you to feel your diaphragm now. So take a hand towards your lowest ribs. You can take one or both hands. And here you'll feel that when you inhale, there's expansion underneath your low rib cage. And this is actually a pressurized breath. It's a diaphragmatic breath, which can help soothe and calm our system. It works with our parasympathetic system, the rest and digest system. And it might be, compared to a chest breath. So, chest breathing is a pattern that we can easily get into, and it's associated with more of a fight or flight response versus a diaphragmatic breath, a low and slow breath connected to our rest and digest systems. So, this pressurized breath feels like the diaphragm pressing down, the organs moving into your belly. You might even feel a slight pressure at the pelvic floor, as if you could fill up a balloon below your low ribs. And then let that balloon soften. So take that a couple times. Diaphragmatic breath, full belly breath. Notice not only your front body expanding, but maybe into your side bodies, your low back. Taking 5 more breaths. Start to release the breath practice. You can move your hands to the sides. Just take a moment to notice if you were able to calm the mind a bit with that practice. I'm simply trying to give you options to use prior to your meditation seat. So we are going to move up towards that seat. And what I find for a good seat is having a prop underneath you. You can use a bolster, a pillow. You could use a block. I have a block here holding my curtains back. So starting to set yourself up, there's a couple options. So one of them is this cross-legged seat, and working in some of that rotation hopefully warmed up the hips so you could have a cross-legged seat. As your seat is up on this prop, you can kind of lean into your legs. And you'll find that as if you kind of lean forward a little bit, you'll feel the core engage. Try to lengthen the back. And then keep a little bit of that core engagement as you come back towards your seat. So the seat gets heavier, but you still have this nice upright feeling in the spine because posture does matter. We don't want to end up in this hunched over position while we're meditating, but we also don't want to be too tight in the back body. So it is a play and it does morph throughout the practice. So you can find yourself moving in and out of that. And it's okay to find little micro movements in your meditation. So if sitting cross-legged like so doesn't support your legs or your body, there's another option. I want to bring this in to show you. You could let a cushion or a block come between the legs, and you could do a kneeling seat. So this kneeling seat has both knees on the other side of this bolster, and you can start to sit down. And then you get to kind of hug around the bolster, and the knees and legs are now in more of a, horizontal vertical line from your hips. So this is sometimes more supportive for folks. And if the tops of the feet are tight, that's also, a practice of finding a seat that's going to work for you. Sometimes riding a little bit of that uncomfortable edge is where our growth happens. So I know many people have said that, their foot falls asleep. And during many of my meditations, my legs and feet have fallen asleep. And it's just kind of getting comfortable with that sensation. I wouldn't say it's all bad. Of course, that is probably some limiting some fluids going to the leg, and you want to just be extra mindful when you start to move again so that you're not standing up on a leg that is asleep. So be super mindful as you set up your seat. I'm going to take the cross-legged seat today, but like I said, sometimes my hips aren't happy with that, and I take that other seat. So we're going to do one more short breath practice here, and that's Nadi Shodhana. Now, if you're familiar with this breath, it's the alternate nostril breathing. And so we do have a hand to assist us with this. Over time, you could get to alternate nostril breathing without using the hand. But I like to use the hand to start, especially if you're new to this practice. And the first thing to check in is, do you feel settled in your breath? There's a possibility that you could create extra agitation by using this breath if you're not completely settled. And so I want you to keep track of that, keep your attention on whether this breath is calming you or maybe it's stirring something in you. So that's just giving you the power to make that choice as we move through this practice. So I'm going to use my right hand. I'm going to turn my ring finger into a nostril closing finger, also my thumb. Your first two fingers can either be folded into your hand or you can rest them gently towards the forehead. So the first two fingers, index and middle finger, towards the forehead or folded in. Then your ring finger is going to be on the left nostril and your thumb will be used to close the right nostril. So this is an alternating pattern. The pattern goes inhale left, exhale right, inhale right, exhale left. And as you're breathing through those nostrils, you're going to be closing the other nostril. So make sure you feel satiated with breath or beverage. And start to bring these fingers in. Just see what it's like to use the ring finger to close the left nostril. Feel the right nostril open. And then do the same. Thumb towards the left. Thumb towards the right. Breathe towards the left. Okay, start to rest the fingers at the forehead or fold them in. And we'll start breathing through the left nostril. So right nostril's closed. Inhale left. Close the left nostril, open the right, exhale. Inhale right. Close the right nostril, open the left, exhale. Inhale left. Open the right, close the left. Exhale. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Continue. If the hands are cramping a bit, you can soften. Notice the breath passing by that third eye center where your fingers might be placed. There's no rush, so try to slow this down. Stay focused on the pattern. Breathing in the left and out the right. Breathing in the right and out the left. Taking 3 more passes. Ending with a breath out of the right nostril. Letting your hand return towards your knees. Let your hands land halfway up your thighs. Let's take a moment to establish your regular breath. Maybe a little of that diaphragmatic breath, breathing low and slow. Invite the stillness in. Notice if the mind can stay focused in your meditative seat. After we move the body, centered with our breath, you could imagine a thin gold thread through your spinal column. The tailbone is the tip of the thread, and it moves upward through the crown, so the top of your head. Even expands beyond that. See if you can set an anchoring point above you for this thread. And rest around that thread. Let that thread be the tallest part of you through the center of your spine. And everything else just gets to settle as your awareness stays towards the center thread. Find your easy breath passing by the nostrils. Taking about 5 minutes here to sit. And the practice is focusing the mind for this practice in your meditative seat. So if you do find yourself wandering away, let that wandering be close to you, right? Like noticing where your seat is touching the prop. Noticing if you can lengthen through that thread at center. The mind is built to wander, and we get to choose the track that it goes on. So if the mind isn't happy staying still in the body, placed at the third eye or the heart, or maybe even the navel, then let the mind wander up and down the spine or towards your seat. And we don't punish the mind for doing what it does. We just redirect it as we're learning, as we're practicing. Be compassionate. Be kind to your mind. Following the thread in your spine or the thread of your easy breathing. It's simply a practice. Let it be easy. Establish yourself in your body and your breath. Let the mind be still, like a clear lake. And like a clear, still lake, you can see right to the bottom. So let your experience be clear, steady. Noticing that we're never truly still. We have this flow of breath, our living, breathing body. But there is a stillness that can be found in the mind. Invite yourself to yoke the three together, body, breath, and mind. See if you could be one experience with the body, breath, and mind. Revisiting the thread through your spine. Notice if you've shifted a little bit around that thread. Invite in the feeling of gratitude or joy, a little smile in the heart that you found your seat today. You found a moment of stillness, which perhaps turned into a moment of bliss. And know that you can take these moments with you. And the more you practice, the more they come. We'll close with palm to palm, gently bring them towards your center, unifying right and left sides. Find that little space in the middle. Send some of your own love there. Bow to that space. And a deeper bow to the practice of yoga, the lineage of yoga. Thank you for practicing with me.